叫什么名？
叫陆华。
知不知道为什么他过来了？
知道，我知道错了。
The People's Republic of China, with its restrictive laws and policies, takes extreme measures to control the narrative, even if it means handcuffing a citizen to a chair or chaining a woman by the neck. What are these videos China doesn't want the world to see? Join us as we analyze these 12 secret videos snuck out of China. Number 12. Tiger Chair. A leaked video from China shows a man named Zhui Feng Luhua being questioned harshly just because he spoke out against the police on social media. He was arrested and put through intense interrogation. This video first showed up in 2018 on a Chinese YouTube channel and was later found on a verified account called Lieutenant's Loft, which had English subtitles. In the footage, Luhua is seen locked into a heavy metal chair, known in China as a tiger chair, a device meant to keep people from moving and to make them feel scared. The officers start by asking, "Do you know why you are here?" Looking terrified, Luhua responds, "I drank a little too much and said some foolish things." The questioning goes on, with the officers pressing him about why he made negative comments about the traffic police on QQ and WeChat, two well-known social media apps in China. They ask him why he was against the police, if he had a personal problem with them, and why he spoke badly about them. During the whole process, Luhua keeps saying he is sorry, admits that he was wrong, and begs for another chance, promising never to say anything negative about them again. Experts who studied the language in the video confirmed that it was about punishing someone for criticizing the police online, with no connection to religion. Still, the footage made many journalists and internet users angry, as they saw it as more proof that China is trying to silence free speech. The Chinese government has faced criticism for a long time over how it shuts down anyone who speaks out, especially in cases like this, where even small complaints can lead to an arrest. The use of metal tiger chairs during interrogations is common in China, and they are often used to scare and silence people who question those in power. Luhua's case also sheds light on a bigger issue, which is the country's social credit system, which punishes people for doing anything that makes the government look bad. Most of the world's attention has been on how China treats ethnic minorities, like the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. But cases like Luhua's show that even Han Chinese citizens can face harsh punishment if they go against the authorities. Still, it is not only those in power who are responsible for acts of cruelty in China. This next video tells the story of a woman who suffered at the hands of her own husband. Number 11. The Chained Woman. At the start of 2022, this heartbreaking video surfaced from Feng County, Suzhou, Gansu Province, China. It showed a woman named Yang chained by her neck inside a rundown hut. Her hair was tangled, her face covered in dirt, and scraps of food were scattered on the floor. The video spread quickly across Chinese social media, sparking outrage and shining a light on the serious problem of. The footage was first shared on Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok. It showed Yang's husband, Dong Jimin, looking after their children and eating in another room while Yang remained trapped in awful conditions. At first, local officials claimed Yang was legally married to Dong and had mental health issues. But as more people started asking questions, deeper investigations revealed that Yang had actually been. Reports later uncovered that Yang, who came from Yunnan province, had been sold twice as a bride in the late 1990s. Authorities later arrested 6 people linked to her trafficking and mistreatment, including Dong Jimin, who was charged with keeping her locked up illegally. By April 2023, these individuals were sentenced to prison terms ranging from 8 to 13 years. The case caused massive public anger, with many people horrified and demanding justice for Yang. The Chinese government was criticized for how it handled the situation and for not doing enough to stop human trafficking. In response, officials punished 17 government workers in Feng County for failing to properly handle the case. Even with these actions, many people still doubt whether China is truly serious about protecting vulnerable people from trafficking. Number 10. Mutant fish. In July 2018, a strange video appeared on Chinese social media and quickly caught attention both inside and outside the country. The footage showed a man holding a very unusual sea creature that looked oddly similar to a human. It had what seemed like a head and limbs, And the most shocking part was that it moved its legs while being held, proving it was still alive when the video was recorded. People were baffled and started guessing what this creature could be. Some believed it was a mutated starfish, possibly deformed due to pollution in the water. This idea made sense to those worried about China's heavily polluted rivers and seas, which have suffered serious damage from industrial waste. If pollution was behind this strange mutation, it would be yet another reminder of how badly marine life is being affected by human activities. However, marine experts offered different explanations. A British zoologist and cryptozoologist, Dr. Carl Hukou, suggested that the creature might actually be a large mass of sea sponge, possibly shaped by natural forces or even human interference to look like a human figure. This theory pointed to the possibility that the creature's appearance was not caused by pollution, but was instead a natural occurrence that happened to look unusual. Number 9. Execution vans. In China, there has been a lot of debate and criticism about the use of mobile execution vehicles, often called execution vans. These vans are designed to carry out the death penalty in a quick and private manner, usually by lethal injection. From the outside, they look like regular police vehicles, blending into city streets without drawing attention. But inside, they have a bed to hold the prisoner in place and medical equipment for the injection. Since these vans can move from place to place, executions can happen in secret without needing special execution centers. Not much official information is available about these vans, but leaked videos and photos have surfaced, giving people a rare look at how they work. One particular video that spread across different platforms showed the inside of an execution van, revealing the restraints and medical tools used. These leaks have helped expose a system that usually stays hidden from the public. One of the most disturbing claims about China's execution methods is the accusation of organ harvesting. Some reports suggest that after prisoners are executed, their organs are taken for transplant surgeries. Since execution vans allow for quick and controlled procedures, it is believed that they make organ removal easier. International human rights groups have strongly condemned this practice. China carries out more executions than any other country, with estimates reaching thousands each year. The legal process moves quickly, and some prisoners are put to death just weeks after being sentenced. Execution vans make this process even faster, allowing the government to carry out executions with fewer obstacles. Number 8. Black jails. In China, the term black jails is used to describe secret detention centers that operate outside the country's official legal system. These places are mostly used to hold people who speak out against local government issues, challenge authorities, or try to bring attention to unfair treatment. Unlike regular prisons run by the state, these secret jails are often controlled by local officials or private security groups, allowing them to avoid national laws and oversight. This video was recorded in 2009, when a journalist named Melissa Chan investigated one of these secret facilities in Beijing. A former detainee gave her information about the location, and when she arrived, she heard a woman crying out for help from inside. The woman's voice was desperate as she begged, "You're here to save me," making it clear just how terrible the conditions were. Chan tried to help, but the guards refused to open the door, leaving the woman's fate uncertain. People who were once held in these black jails have shared stories of mistreatment. One woman, who had traveled to Beijing to protest corruption in her town, said she was kidnapped and taken to a secret facility. While there, she was beaten with metal rods and shocked with electric prods. Detainees are locked up without any formal charges, lawyers, or trials, and some remain imprisoned for months or even years. Local officials use black jails as a way to silence people and stop them from reporting their problems to higher government authorities. The fear of being taken to one of these places keeps many citizens from speaking out, allowing the local government to maintain control. Even though there is plenty of proof that these jails exist, the Chinese government continues to deny them. During a press conference in 2009, an official from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said, "Things like this do not exist in China." Number 7. The forgotten people of Gansu province. In China's Gansu province, deep within the Loess Plateau, there's a unique kind of home called a yaodong. These have been around for hundreds of years and are basically cave houses dug into hillsides or built around sunken courtyards. The thick earthen walls help trap heat during freezing winters and keep the inside cool when summer temperatures rise. This traditional way of building has made life easier in a dry region where resources are hard to come by. But despite how smartly designed these homes are, people living in these underground villages struggle with serious challenges. One major problem is the misunderstanding that these homes are actually sewers, which has led to people from Gansu being unfairly labeled as sewer people. On top of that, they lack basic services like running water and electricity, so many residents cook with open fires, which can be dangerous in such enclosed spaces. Jobs are also extremely limited, and some villagers earn as little as 30 cents in US money per day. Many take tough, low-paying jobs in nearby mines, which are not only exhausting but also risky for their health. Another big issue is the lack of schools. Without proper education, kids in these villages don't get the chance to learn skills that could help them find better jobs, which means they often grow up stuck in the same cycle of poverty. Medical care is also almost non-existent, leaving people with no help when they get sick or injured. In the past few years, some small projects have tried to help. Local groups have worked on building better roads, bringing clean water, and setting up programs to support the economy. In certain villages across Gansu, efforts have been made to provide safe water sources and improve homes. Education and job training programs have also been introduced to give people skills that could help them earn a living. But without serious help from the government, these communities could become even more isolated from the rest of the country. Number 6. Persecution of Uyghur Muslims. In the past few years, a series of leaked videos and documents have brought attention to how Uyghur Muslims are treated in China's Xinjiang region. These leaks go against what the Chinese government has said about the situation and have sparked concern worldwide. One of the most shocking videos came from Merdan Gapar, a Uyghur model who managed to record footage from inside his detention. The video shows him handcuffed to a bed in a small, empty room with barred windows, giving a rare look at what conditions are like inside these facilities. In the messages he sent, he described cramped cells, filthy living spaces, and constant surveillance with propaganda playing all the time. Another leaked video showed drone footage of what appeared to be Uyghur Muslims being held in custody, with some of them looking weak and in poor condition. As more leaks have surfaced, they have continued to support claims of mistreatment. One of the most important leaks is called the Xinjiang Police Files, a collection of official documents and photos taken from police computers in China. These files contain thousands of pictures of detained Uyghurs, with some as young as 15 years old and others as old as 73. The photos, taken between January and July of 2018, show many detainees in distress, with some even restrained, revealing the massive scale of these detentions. The leaked files also include speeches from top Chinese officials like Zhao Keji and Chen Quanguo. In these speeches, they give orders on how the camps should be run, stressing strict control over detainees. Some of the instructions mention extreme measures, like allowing officers to use deadly force if anyone tries to escape. Other documents describe how detainees should be moved, requiring them to be blindfolded, handcuffed, and shackled when being transferred from one place to another. The Chinese government has repeatedly denied any accusations of human rights violations in Xinjiang. When the Xinjiang police files were leaked, officials quickly dismissed them, calling the documents fake lies and misleading information. According to the government, these facilities are actually training centers meant to prevent extremism and help reduce poverty. A spokesperson from the Foreign Ministry, Wang Wenbin, claimed the leaks were just another attempt by people who dislike China to damage its reputation. He also insisted that the people in Xinjiang are living happy and meaningful lives. As for the video from Merdan Gapar, Chinese authorities said he was arrested because he had acted aggressively toward police officers and posed a risk to himself. They did not directly explain the conditions shown in the video, but instead suggested that his behavior made the detention necessary. Number 5. Plans to invade Taiwan. In May of 2022, a shocking 57-minute leaked video was released, reportedly capturing a secret meeting of officials from China's People's Liberation Army discussing their plans for an invasion of Taiwan. The recording was first covered by lewd media and quickly spread thanks to journalist Jennifer Zheng. Experts confirmed the video's authenticity, marking it as the first known leak of a high-level military meeting from China since the country was founded in 1949. The video features senior officials from the Guangdong Military Command, including provincial party leaders and military commanders. The conversation focuses on preparations for what they call a war status transition, meaning China's plans to shift its economy, production, and logistics to wartime levels. Throughout the discussion, the commanders make it clear that China is determined to stop Taiwan's independence, with phrases like, "We will crush Taiwan's independence," and "We will not hesitate to go to war." The video also mentions the mobilization of 140,000 soldiers from Guangdong province, including specialized amphibious forces for an invasion. Another major point is securing the South China Sea, with military officials stressing the importance of controlling shipping routes and supply chains in case the US or other allies intervene. They also discuss shifting civilian factories to military production, making things like planes, ammunition, and fuel. A leaked transcript of the video includes blunt statements like, "We will not hesitate to start a war," and "We must prepare for full-scale confrontation with Taiwan and its allies." After the video leaked, the Chinese government quickly took it down from social media and state-run news sites. The Chinese military and the Communist Party never officially confirmed or denied if the recording was real, but the effort to remove it suggests it was a serious breach of security. Even though they tried to suppress the leak, Western intelligence agencies analyzed the video and suggested that China was already making plans for military action against Taiwan. Then, in early 2024, another leak made waves, this time coming from the United States. An internal memo from U.S. Air Force General Michael Minihan was leaked, warning that China might invade Taiwan by 2025. The memo, which NBC News first got a hold of, included this message: "My gut tells me we will fight in 2025. Xi Jinping has secured his third term and started his war plans. The Taiwan elections in 2024 and the US elections in 2024 will give him a chance to make his move." The leaked memo added fuel to the worries in Washington and Taipei about what China might do. The US has warned China multiple times that an invasion of Taiwan would lead to military intervention. If war broke out, it could spark a direct conflict between China and the US, with disastrous effects on global stability. Number 4. Man breaks out of prison. Late one night, a man managed to escape from a prison in Jilin, China. The intense footage shows him climbing onto a rooftop, then jumping over an electric fence. After scaling the prison's outer wall, he makes a break for freedom. At first, this might seem like a typical prison escape, but the real story behind it is much darker. The man was not Chinese, but a North Korean defector named Zhu Xianjian. His crime wasn't something common either. It was fleeing North Korea and illegally crossing into China, something the Chinese government does not tolerate because of their agreement with North Korea. Under this deal, any North Korean who escapes to China is arrested immediately and sent back to North Korea. Zhu Xianjian had already been sentenced to 11 years in a Chinese prison, but his release was just around the corner. However, instead of waiting for his sentence to end, he made a desperate decision to escape. Why? Because after his prison term ended, he would be deported back to North Korea, where his fate would be execution. For North Korean defectors, being sent back means either endless torture in prison camps or a quick death. With no good option left, Zhu knew he had only one choice. He had to run. Despite his best efforts, Zhu's escape didn't last long. A few days after fleeing, Chinese police tracked him down to an abandoned house by a lake. He was found hiding inside, and the video of his capture shows officers dragging him away, his face filled with the heavy realization of what lies ahead. His future is unclear, but given China's strict policy of sending North Korean defectors back to their home country, he was most likely handed over to North Korean authorities. The video stands as a grim reminder of the extreme lengths defectors are forced to go to in order to escape the harsh rule of North Korea, only to be trapped by China's policies that rob them of their freedom. Number 3. iPhone protests. In November 2022, the Foxconn factory in Zhengzhou, China, often called iPhone City because of its key role in assembling Apple's iPhones, became the center of major protests captured live in this video. This factory, with over 200,000 workers, had already been criticized for its strict closed-loop system, which was introduced to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Under this system, employees had to live and work on site, with limited contact with the outside world to reduce the risk of the virus. This arrangement led to huge protests, which you can see in the video. The protests were sparked by several issues. Workers claimed Foxconn had gone back on promises about compensation. Many new employees were told they would get a significant bonus after 2 months of work. However, when they arrived, they were informed that the bonuses would be delayed until March of 2023, much longer than expected. In addition to this, there were complaints about poor living conditions, with reports of workers being housed next to others who had tested positive for COVID-19, which made many of them fear getting sick. The situation was made worse by the factory's tough lockdown rules, which restricted workers' freedom and access to essential services. The situation didn't stop there. On the night of November 22, 2022, the protests reached a peak when hundreds of workers gathered at the Foxconn factory to demand change. The videos you're seeing now are just a glimpse of the chaos that unfolded. Workers were seen tearing down quarantine barriers, clashing with security dressed in hazmat suits, and loudly voicing their frustrations about fair pay and better living conditions. Some videos even showed police using tear gas and getting physical with the protesters. To try and calm things down, Foxconn apologized, saying the issues with compensation were due to a technical error in their payment systems. They offered the protesting workers a severance package of 10,000 yuan, around $1,400, as an incentive to leave the factory. Many workers took the deal and left, hoping for a quick resolution. After the unrest, Foxconn made some changes, including adjusting their pay structures and improving living conditions at the factory to avoid a repeat of the protests. The Chinese government, wanting to keep the economy stable, also stepped in to help manage the situation and prevent further disruptions. Since then, both Foxconn and Apple have been under more scrutiny, with human rights groups questioning how big companies are treating their workers, especially in places with strict government control. Number 2, forced evictions. This video is really upsetting because it shows the harsh reality that many people in China face when they're forced to leave their homes. Forced evictions in China have been a serious human rights issue, especially since the 1990s, when rapid urban growth and economic progress led local governments to focus on selling land to property developers. This has caused many people to lose their homes without being properly compensated or even consulted, leading to frustration and sometimes even protests. The rise in forced evictions is linked to China's economic system, where local governments depend heavily on land sales for their income. In some areas, land sales make up as much as 74% of a local government's revenue. This creates a strong push for authorities to take land, often saying it's for public interest, but in reality, it's usually sold to private developers. The problem is made worse because Chinese law doesn't clearly define what public interest means, which leaves room for officials to misuse this term. Many videos, like the one you're watching, have been leaked showing the extreme methods used during forced evictions. These include demolishing homes in the dead of night, sending in strangers to scare people, and even using violence. Some developers have reportedly started fires or screamed things like earthquake to force people to run away from their homes. These actions not only violate property rights, but also put people's safety and dignity at risk. But that's not the only problem facing Chinese citizens trying to find a place to live. Number 1, the Hukou system. The Hukou system in China has been a major source of inequality, especially for migrant workers, and a recent viral video really brought this harsh reality to light. The video showed how this system keeps millions of Chinese citizens stuck in poverty, unable to get basic rights or services. It quickly spread across social media and was shared worldwide, showing a group of migrant workers struggling with terrible living conditions, unable to find work, and constantly mistreated by the authorities. The Hukou system, which has been in place since the 1950s, sorts people based on where they were born and gives them either a rural or urban status. This status basically decides whether people can access important things like education, healthcare, and housing. Even though people from rural areas are allowed to move to cities for work, they don't get the same rights as city residents, leaving them open to being taken advantage of and forced to live in awful conditions. The video, which was filmed in a large industrial city, showed migrant workers being kicked out of their makeshift homes. The footage captured police and city workers tearing down their shelters while the workers begged for more time to find a new place to live. Some tried to gather their things, while others protested, but their pleas were ignored or they were pushed away. When the video was released, it caused an uproar among human rights groups and people around the world. It showed how China's fast economic growth has come at the expense of its workers, especially those who moved from rural areas hoping for better lives. These workers, often called floating populations, are crucial to China's industries, but remain treated like second-class citizens under the Hukou system. Without proper papers, they can't get their kids into schools, receive health care, or even sign a lease legally. This forces them to live in risky, unstable conditions. After the video spread, there were lots of online discussions criticizing how migrant workers are treated. However, inside China, officials quickly took down posts about it. While the government acknowledged how important migrant workers are to the economy, they've refused to let go of the Hukou system. Even though there have been small changes, like making registration easier in smaller cities, big cities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou still don't allow rural residents to gain urban Hukou status. For the workers shown in the video, things didn't get any better. Reports said many were left homeless, with no jobs or places to stay. Some moved to smaller cities with fewer rules, but this often meant lower pay and fewer job chances. The video really showed how deeply the Hukou system is rooted in China's society, locking millions in a cycle of inequality. While global pressure has led to some promises of change, life for migrant workers in China hasn't improved much. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.